And here we go. We are live. Welcome to the Marketing Commandos Show, my friends. Welcome, Precious. Welcome, everybody. I hope that you are doing incredible today. Today, we're going to talk about an interesting topic. Extremely interesting topic because I don't see a lot of people being honest with this whole thing that's happening. And let me tell you what it is exactly. So one of the big debates that has always been and will always be, I believe, a debate is does branding really work? And the discussion between marketing, like direct response marketing, or branding. Which one is more important? Which one should you do? Which one should you don't do? Should you even do? Should you both? Like, what is it all about? Because people are throwing those words here and there, but they don't really know the sense, the meaning of it, or they don't know how to use those things. And today we're going to talk about just that, how you can make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you're able to use it and to use it good for your business. So let's go ahead and get started right now without waiting anymore. Let me just show you my screen because, well, I got a little presentation that you guys will take advantage of. Just making sure my screen is set it up the right way. And here we go, partager l'écran. And we're going to get this one shared. And that's the one. Let's go ahead and get this started. So guys, an honest marketer, viewpoints on branding versus direct response. That's a question that I see a lot of people asking on the internet. Hey, like, should I even do branding? Like, is this even working? Because I don't know, this whole thing is all about, I'm not that sure. And should I even do branding? Because I don't see results and all those debates, these eternal debates, and I'm going to hopefully make this debate come to an end. So let's get this started. So quick introduction for those who don't know me. My name is Gabriel Julié. I help local businesses become monopolies by making sure they dominate the local areas with marketing. That's what I do. So that's just quick introductions. Now that we know each other, let's go ahead and get this started. So an honest marketer viewpoint on branding versus direct response. Should there even be versus? Like, should there even be things that are contradictory? Interesting. Make sure that you subscribe to the show now because we do this every single Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you don't want to miss any episode of the Marketing Commandos Show because we are going to talk about subjects like this on how to grow your business and take it to the next level with no BS marketing, knowledge, and wisdom. That's my goal for you guys. Now, let me share with you guys the biggest ROI activity any local business can get. And this is not what you think. Because, guys, let me tell you something. I struggled for a long time with this idea of marketing and branding and what should I do? Is this even the thing that I should be doing? Is branding really worth it? Is it? Well, guys, let me share with you a little, like, for those of you guys who don't know first, what is branding and what is direct response exactly? Because those are words like, hey, give value, like those kind of things, we don't really know what those things means, but we use those terms all the time. So let me share with you what those two things are. Branding, and I'm going to make it like a basic, simple definition for you guys, because I believe that the more basic you make it, the more you are able to understand it, and the more, therefore, you are able to apply it in the correct ways. So let me share with you the no BS definition of what branding and direct response are. So branding is the following thing. When you are not there and people say your name, what do they think about you? That is branding if you think about yourself, but that's exactly the same thing with your company. What do they think? What actions do they take when you're not there, when you're not looking, when you're not trying to put an image of yourself? What happens by itself in the background? That is branding. Direct response, on the other end, are all the activities that you can measure and that you do marketing with that generate results, sales, right now. So for example, you can take Facebook ads are a ways to do direct marketing. For example, if you send people to a landing page, getting them to sign up to something, to buy a product, that is that by definition direct response, because you see a response to an action that you want the customer to take directly. Therefore, direct response. So that's the two things. And something that you got to understand is that those are two extremely different ways to do marketing. However, you got to understand how to master those. And that's actually the way I think about it. Because branding is really that long-term thinking way of establishing something that is maybe not measurable because it's so long-term and so like it's more establishing a way of thinking around you and your brand. And you cannot really measure that because it's all about the perception of other people's of the brand that you're creating. You cannot really measure that. And that's one of the reasons why branding is overlooked, because first, well, you cannot measure it. You cannot say, okay, I put that much money into branding and that gave me that many returns. You don't know. But also the second thing that prevents people for them to actually go ahead and go big into branding is, well, it's a long-term game. And everybody wants to have the quickest, the up sales, down sales. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying those things are not good, by the way. You gotta understand how to master both. But the thing is, people don't like the long-term aspect of, oh, like I'm doing something right now, but I'm not going to see results and I'm not going to be able to measure them right after that. So, it's not worth it. But let me ask you a question. Do you see Louis Vuitton doing, oh, if you get this bag, you can get, wait, there is a one-time offer. You can get the second bag for free if you do this thing, or we can get you on continuity, and all those things are good for getting money into, to putting some food on the table. Basically, right now you need some money. Direct response is the way. But if you want to establish something that gives you the best ROI and that makes you a monopoly, because that's the goal of marketing commandos, to become monopolies of their areas, well, branding is extremely important, because that's the reason why Louis Vuitton, Adidas, Nike, and pretty much all of the brands that you can think about can charge outrageous prices for basically something that just has a logo on it. It's not the logo. And people think about branding, they think about logo, design, graphic design. That's not it. That's just the image that you show to people. But what branding is not what you put out to the world. Branding, what is the power of branding, comes from what people sees, what they think about you. And that's really a big mind shift to do, because hey, like because you did a logo, not like you're not the king of the world right now, doesn't mean anything. Or because you did a campaign talking about your latest success story because you're so good. Well, that's not branding. That's built all the time. That's creating literally a thought. When I say this, you think that. And well, Gabriel, if this is about the customer thinking a certain way about my brand, well, I don't have to do anything wrong, because you cannot outsource branding, basically. If you let it do it by itself, you will get most likely something you don't want to. Because when you don't allocate specifically some time and some efforts into building the brand of your company, of yourself, what happens is that other people do it for you, and they do not have your best interest in end, and they cannot vehiculate the passion that you have and the impact that you want to do. They cannot do that because you are the only person that cares about those things, because hey, you are you, and those things, you are the person that is willing to make the sacrifices and do all those things, the same way that a business, like an employee, cannot care as much about the company than the business owner. That's just basically impossible. The guy just come here for a paycheck, the other one, like, he put blood, sweat, and tears into it. So hey, not the same value about it. But you cannot outsource branding. And what I mean by that is that this is extremely something that you guys need to understand. You build a brand by giving so much more compared to your competitors that all of a sudden people only think about you and they want to reciprocate. That's the way you build a brand. Now, everybody will tell you, oh, like, just give what your competitors are doing for free and give value. you don't know what value is, and you'll be good. But that's, one of the things that I can tell you seems simple. What is, it's simple but not easy. Because how can you do that in a sustainable way? How can you do what seems unscalable and give so much value? What is value even? What does it even mean, value? Well, the key is that you gotta understand that branding is basically the reason why, or at least the causes for all the referrals that comes your way, or it doesn't come your way. Because your brand is what people think about you, and that will determine if they refer somebody to you, or if they tell you, oh, this guy, like, don't buy from him, he's a a scam or something like this. And this is a big thing that I want to make you guys understand. And this isn't and why the discussion shouldn't be about branding versus direct response, but how you can use them both together. Because let me tell you something. When you build a brand that everybody knows about you and are thinking great things about you, how do you think your ads, your direct response ads, respond to that? Because everybody kind of heard about you, or at least have an opinion, a positive opinion about you. Well, when they get an ad about you asking them to take an action, they're much more likely to take action. And that's why it's invisible and you cannot really measure branding because, well, it works for you or against you, but it boosts every ask you do. Everything you put out, it gives it much more power, but you cannot really measure that. And that's what is really important to understand now. It also works in reverse, the bad word of mouth. And that's one of the reasons why you see every marketers that don't have your best interest in hand, whilst are trying to sell as much as possible without just doing the tricks and the hacks, but not sharing genuine value. Then the brand that is created, well, what happens? Those guys have a bad brand, and therefore people are not responding to their ads anymore because they have a shitty brand, and people know there are people that are scamming them. And therefore, you cannot measure it, but all of a sudden, if you're in their shoes, you're like, man, what's happening? My ads are not responding. I guess Facebook doesn't work. I'm going to stop my business, But that's really not the reason why. The real reason why is because, well, you don't give enough value. So people, they're like, fuck this guy. That's basically the way you build the brand. And if you can rewind everything I told you guys right here, and you can understand and truly grasp all of the things I just shared with you, you can truly find a way to differentiate yourself compared to the competition. And because nobody's doing this. And this is extremely important. Let me tell you guys to close on this first part of today's episode, because the key is to find the right equilibrium between marketing, direct response, and branding marketing. But let me tell you something. Something extremely important. Listen very carefully. When I go and work with a business, 99.9% of those guys don't use some kind of a direct response solution to their businesses. But almost even less businesses are having good branding. Even less. And you don't want to know the reason why? It's because everybody wants to get the quick buck. Everybody wants to get the quick win. But they're not willing to build something in the long term that will give them outrageous results. Because it seems too much effort and sacrifice. And I get it. But now, hey, if you want to get as much out of your business as possible, make sure you build your brand. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. Okay? Now, if you did find somebody into that, share this clip, this live stream with somebody, ping somebody into the room if you're on the clubhouse. And this is only the first part of today's episode, guys. So, hey, hope you're all ready for it because, well, this is only the beginning. So, stay here because we are just getting started. Let me just get back on my screen because we're going to go on section number 2 of today's episode. Hey, questions. I love those questions because those are questions that people are asking a ton, and I want to make sure that they get answered so you don't have to look for the answer by yourself. Your boy Gabriel give them to you right here, right now. So, question number 1, situation number 1. I'm posting content, but I don't see any results. What should I do? I'm going to tell something that maybe is going to hurt a few feelings. Like, just bear with me for a second. Your content is not good enough. It's not good. But Gabriel, I got so better tips than all those guys, all those gurus. Well, maybe, but stop being sentimental about the way your content is working for you. Because let me tell you something. If it doesn't work, people are not interested. It's extremely simple. It's not about figuring out the latest algorithm tweak on Instagram, on YouTube to understand how to create content. Your content has to be good. That's just the way it has to be. It just has to be good. People have to be enjoying what you're posting. And I saw that hundreds of times. I was frustrated creating videos and photos that didn't work. But when I understood what people were looking for and wanted, and I posted more of that, all of a sudden, you know, my content works because I understand how people want to receive value that I gotta share with them. And it's just about understanding that format and replicating that and making sure you give a crap ton while you're doing it. That's simple, but not easy, and nobody is willing to do that. But if you are going to be able to differentiate yourself in an extremely good way, a ton compared to the competition. So that was question number one. Then question number two. Share the screen again. How much value should I give before asking? If you're asking that question, or if you're thinking about this that way, you're doing this whole thing wrong. Simple reason why. Because when you are asking how much you should give, you're waiting for something in return. And that's not giving. That's not giving. When you are creating content online and people are telling you, hey, give, it's not give with the intention of asking after that. It's give. And when you give fully. So make sure that whenever you give some value, whenever you share something that, hey guys, I'm here to share with you that piece of value, don't share it with having, in the back of your mind, how I'm going to ask them right after that because I gave them that much value, they're going to buy my shit. Awesome. No. When you give some value, give it in a genuine way, in like, hey, I'm just giving you that, nothing asked in return. And let me tell you something that is extremely great. When you are giving value honestly, and people are extremely good at sniffing intentions. That's one of the things that humans are extremely good at. They can sniff intention. They can understand, oh, this guy, he's giving all of that, but it's just, he's just doing that to sell me something. And when you're able to sniff that, which every human is extremely good at, well, your sales plumbed, your brand is shit, and you cannot get any, you just get out of business, honestly. So whenever you give fully, and most people, 99.9% of the people on this planet want to reciprocate when you give them value, especially when it comes from a true and real place. So make sure that you do that. Now, question number three. Let me share with you my screen right here, right now. What's the best way to do content? What's the best way to do content, guys? And let me tell you, for me, in my own opinion, the best way I see people doing content is for them to share their own perspective of what is working, because that's one of the shifts that I had to do recently, because I was understanding great concepts and I was able to, teach them to you guys, but I didn't felt great about it for some reason. And then I understood, one of my mentors said that to me, or at least made me understand that when you are just sharing something that you hear from somebody's mouth and you're just basically saying the same thing on the other side, well, everybody kind of, heard the same piece of advice. And but when you are coming from a place of doing, and that's what Gary Vee calls the document over create. You don't just okay, I'm taking this and I'm looking up for something to say that other guys are saying so I can actually, make my content. No. Documents. But the document comes from a place of you doing the things, and because you're going to take the same piece of advice, for example, but because you apply it, it has a lot of context. A lot of context and specific knowledge that is extremely valuable for the people you are serving. And then when you have that contextualized piece of content, You sharing it is, in my opinion, the best way for you to create content. So that's the way you guys should be creating content, or at least my opinion, just my opinion, an honest marketer opinion about how you can create content. Now, do you guys like those questions and the answers that I get them? Make sure that you share the stream and you share the Clubhouse room with people that needs to hear this, because I'm going to go into the top 3 mistakes that people do with branding, especially local businesses. So bear with me for a second if you want to see that, because it's coming to you online right now. Let's go ahead and get this started. Top 3 mistakes. That's 3 mistakes local businesses do with branding. By the way, if you're not a local business, it works as well. So make sure that you check it out. Not doing the branding, not doing it, aka letting others do it for you, because that's the truth. You cannot not do branding. Branding is always happening in the background, but it can happen for you or against you. So I would rather want you to have control over it, because if you don't have control, well, people that don't have your best interest in hand and I don't know truly what value you are able to share are going to create the values of your brand. And when you're not able to have control over that, you cannot have the impact and the real, you cannot have, this doesn't have its full power. So make sure that you have control over your brand and you take control over it by giving value and sharing, okay, this is what we stand for. This is what we are here to deliver. This is what we bring to the table. That is branding. That is branding. And then mistake number 2, they're thinking there is no ROI into it. Therefore, that's one of the reasons why they don't do it. But hear me out. Branding is actually the biggest, gives the biggest ROI that you can ever get in business, in any direct response campaign you can do. I don't care how good you are at it. What are your returns? If you have like 1,000 on one return on ad spend, I don't give a damn, for a simple reason, because I know that branding over the long term gives you the best results. How can you prove that, Gabriel? Prove it. No problem. Let me show you an example. Okay, Louis Vuitton. I always share this example. How are they able to take a bag, make it for less than $100 and sell it for 10K? Brand. Nike, how are they able to take a shirt? Nike, just look at this. This is Nike. I'm wearing a Nike débardeur, as we say in French, tank top. Like, this shit may be worth, I don't know, 22 euros, maybe like 30 bucks for you guys. Okay? I can get pretty much the same quality kind of thing at $5, you know? But why is this literally 6 times the price? Well, branding. Interesting. And how do you calculate the ROI on this? How do you do that? Well, you cannot really, it's really hard to measure, but I'm telling you that selling millions and millions and millions, maybe more, of shirts like this at 5 times the price, well, that is pretty good ROI in my opinion. So you got to understand that even though you cannot measure it right now, if you're able to build a brand that's strong enough, it does all the hard work for you, which is extremely important to understand. Now, let's go ahead and get to the next mistake that I see a lot of businesses are making. Not giving your customers the best thing you have. When you're doing branding, something extremely important is to give again, and not stop giving. But when do I ask, Gabriel? I gotta make my money. Yes, you have. But I find this really interesting in some way, because most people, and that's one of the things that the direct response guys and most of you guys maybe don't understand, is that, hey, even if you don't ask, sometimes if you give so much, when I say so much, I mean so much it becomes unreasonable for them to not reciprocate. You make more money than actually by you asking each time. Let me explain it to you. So the key for it to work that way is for you to give, again, listen very carefully to what I'm going to tell you. You have to give so much they should feel unreasonable to not reciprocate the value that you're giving to them. If you're giving so much value, so much that I'm not able to think, man, like I gotta do something. And you feel that way. You have some guys that are watching all the time. And if you don't, I highly advise you to watch for them, because when you see them, let me tell you, you see the difference. Genuinely giving the most without waiting for anything in return. And those guys, because they don't need the money, they don't need the buck right now, they can wait, they can delay the gratification. They cannot take the, hey, 5-day six-pack challenge, but they can actually build the six-pack over years. They actually get the dream body. Those are the guys that get the dream body, the dream brand. That's it. Being able to delay the gratification, delay the ask, and actually get it later. That's one of the sayings that I learned recently from one of my mentors, Alex Morzi. The longer you delay the ask, the bigger the ask you can make. The longer you delay the ask, the bigger the ask you can make. That's exactly the same thing if you look at working out, for example. People want to have, the 30-day fix to, losing a lot of weight. Okay, I get it. No problem. I like fast results that are measurable too. Better response. But over the long term, if you really want to build the dream body that you have, that you really want to have, it's like a long-term game. It's years of work, sometimes tens of years. But nobody wants to hear that, But those who are capable to think in that term, think that far, and actually have a strategy that works over this long term, those are actually the guys that succeed the most. So if you're able to use that to your business, to your advantage, you're going to get a lot out from your business career. So let's go ahead and let me show you, for you to be able to discover the last, because I always like to share some bonus tips with you guys. And let me show you what I got for you right now. So, bonus tip. If you do branding correctly, most people will reciprocate and check out what you do. And when I say correctly, I mean you giving everything you're able to give, and even a little bit more than that. If you don't feel anxious about the value that you are giving, you're not giving enough. And you can always give more. But when you're able to do that, you're in a place of, I don't need your money. I'm just here to give value, And when you're able to do that, people, and if your intention is true, by the way, it's extremely important. Remember, people are extremely good at sniffing intention. He wants to sell me something. Nah, not gonna listen to him. And you always have that thing when you're listening to some people. I've got some mentors that are great, but each time I'm watching their content, I'm like, he's going to try to sell me something at the end. He's going to try to sell me. He's going to, send me to his email list or something, And when you have somebody that's not doing that, that's way different. The relationship you got with that person is extremely different. So share value, give it without holding yourself back, keeping the secrets, because when you're giving it away, people want to reciprocate. Do you guys like what I just shared with you? If so, make sure that you share the live stream, because we are going to go into my favorite part of the show. My favorite. And you know why? Because I'm going to share with you a practical way of you actually doing branding for your business, so you can apply today and start creating that big brand that is going to generate incredible results for you. So if you're interested in getting this, make sure that you stay on just right after the little pause I'm going to do, because I'm going to drink some water. Because water is important, as Jean-Claude Van Damme says. Anyway, maybe you guys don't know. Maybe you know Jean-Claude Van Damme. Do you guys know Jean-Claude Van Damme? Like French? Actually, he's not French. He's come from Belgium. But anyway, great guy. And let me go right into the next step of today's episode, which is the most important part. So bear with me for a second. How to get your customers to buy 10 times more. Oh, that's not the right one. That's not the right title. Well, my apologies. The right title is How a Local Business Marketer's Guide to Get the Highest ROI. That's way better. A local business marketer's guide to get the highest ROI. And it's not what you think, guys. So let me share with you Gabriel's definition of branding. Because yes, branding is the thing that is giving you the best ROI. Whoa, Gabriel, I didn't sign up for that. I'm out of this video. I get it, I understand. But if you are still here, still listening, still watching. And if you are willing to listen, to just consider the idea and the opinions of God, well, yeah, maybe I can guarantee you actually that you're going to make much more money than any of your competitors. So listen very carefully. Gabriel's definition of branding. When I say your name and you're not around, what do people think about you? This is branding. And when you are able to have a brand that works for you, because most people, most businesses have a brand that works against them. If you're able to control it and actually build up that brand, it can give you the best, biggest ROI over the long term. So let me share with you what I mean by this. So number one, and I'm not going to give you a step-by-step process today because as you can understand, it's hard to give a step-by-step process on branding. Direct response, I can give you like emails, marketing strategies, but here, those are more principles you can follow every day and that you should apply. Therefore, you're going to see the results. So biggest thing that you need to understand from the get-go, one of the things that I understood and that my mentor, Alex Morsi, told me, is the longer you delay the ask, the bigger the ask you can make. And that's one of the things that I can take you into another context, so maybe you can understand better. So when you are looking with a long-term view on things, when you look at most rich people, and I'm not saying, you know, millionaires, like people that are making some money, I'm talking about like giants, guys that are making billions and billions and billions, like the giants of this planet, you know, the guys that are doing big things. And you can look at guys doing money or even like physically or with relationships, doesn't matter. I'm taking money as an example for now. Those guys have their time frame, or actually the way they look at achieving something is way over the long term compared to the other people. It means that they're not looking into, you know, the next month or the next week or what they're going to achieve and set unexpected and unrealistic targets. They look at it more over the long term, and that's why they are able to win, because they have a long-term strategy. And that's exactly the same thing with branding. The longer the approach you can take, the longer you're like, okay, I'm willing to delay the ask, I'm willing to delay the fact that I want to make some money now, to actually build up some value and actually build a relationship with that person. The longer you're willing to delay this ask, the bigger the ask you are going to be able to make, because you have that relationship built with somebody. That's extremely important to understand. If you're able to understand this and apply it into your business, you will be able to make a much bigger ask when needed. And by the way, let me tell you something. You should only be giving. Give. And most people, which I think I've got in a tip next to it, so I'm not going to go ahead and do it, but most people want to reciprocate. That's actually tip number 3. I got ahead of myself, but let me go back into what I just got for you guys. So number 2 principle that you should always be following with branding: give so much value. You are anxious of how much you are giving. If you're not feeling like, man, I don't feel comfortable sharing all those things, you're not giving enough. Period. And the more you are willing to go over, you know, that I feel anxious, I don't want to give them that thing, the more you're willing to go over that, the more you're willing to give, the more you will receive in return. But remember, when I say this, I don't really like saying this that way, because then people think they should go in it with the expectation of receiving something in return. No, that's not the point. Extremely important to understand. When you are giving without an intention. You're giving without waiting for something in return. If you're doing this, this is a transaction. That's not giving value. That's extremely important to distinct, because when you are doing this, people are extremely good to sniff intentions. He wants to sell me something. These girls, I know, this girl, she wants to sell me and upsell me on her program. And when, as a consumer, when you're watching that and you're having this thing in mind, well, you're not able to truly connect. Maybe you will like that what the person shares with you. Maybe you will buy that program. But the thing is, you will not be able to connect with them on a deep basis, on a deep level. That's really one of the things that you guys need to understand. Let's go into the next principle, which I got ahead of myself a bit, but let me share it with you deeper. 99% of the people that hear from you will reciprocate and give back. And this actually augments the more you give. Because when you give a little, some people are going to feel like, oh, I got enough value, let me reciprocate and buy his program. I got enough value. Okay, everybody wants to have a deal. Remember this, everybody wants to have a deal. That's not in it, so take notes. Everybody wants a deal and buys because they have a deal. Because let's say I'm buying something, I'm buying this headlamp right here. Like, if for me, my money is more valuable than this lamp, I'm not going to buy it, right? I want to have a deal because I value this more than the money. That is why I'm buying it, and I'm not keeping the money. So when you're doing that with giving, people have to feel like you gave them so much that them giving you money, well, they're like, man, like, you should have been taking my money for so long because you gave me so much, you know. That's one of the ways you can see it. But it's really a deep thing. The more you understand that you're able, the more you give, the more you will receive, the better you will be. And by the way, that's, I think, the best way to live life, because now getting into some physical stuff, shit. But the thing that we gotta understand is that I believe there is no point in actually just giving enough just to take. Because when you're able to be in a position that you don't need it and you're truly giving because you want to give, that's really, for me, being wealthy. That's abundance. That's not barely doing the necessary things for you to actually get what you want out of the relationship. When you're able to truly give without you waiting something in return, all of a sudden you're in a position of you feeling wealthy, number one. Number two, you are actually going to get much more results from this strategy because, well, people are going to see it. People are going to see that you're coming from an honest place and that you really want to give and contribute for the success. And they will give back for that. I can guarantee you this. And if you do not believe me, look at every brand, every big brand that you know the name of, and tell me that they are not doing something like this, and tell me that they are not willing, or at least they are not able to do a big ask. Buy a Louis Vuitton bag, buy a Rolex. That's a big ask, paying like 10K or more minimum to get a Rolex. But they're willing to, or at least are able, to do this big ask, those big asks again and again, because the brand is so established. And they will perceive that value because it was built over time. But if, like, today I decided to build a watch company, ask for the same price, I didn't earn that value because I didn't build it up. I didn't build that brand. But those guys did. That's why they can have those big asks. That's really extremely important for you guys to understand. So guys, let's go over the things that we just shared, that I just shared with you today, so you can actually go ahead and implement those, because there is a lot here. So let me share with you my screen. Branding is the highest ROI activity you can make in your business. I don't care what direct response marketing strategy you are using. Branding is the best, and here is why. Because what is the ROI on being able to charge like 10 times the price for the same freaking t-shirt with just a logo on it? Nike logo, Nike, you know. That's a big ROI. And plus, those guys are able to sell way more than the guys that are doing $5 things, you know. So the ROI is not even calculable. But you're not willing to do branding because you cannot measure it. Oh, but that doesn't mean that it's not valuable. So make sure that you build up that brand for your case. Now, next one. The longer you delay the ask, the bigger the ask you can make. That's really one of the, if you can take one thing out from this presentation, take this, because the longer you are willing to delay the ask, like, hey, I don't need it, and I'm not, you know, I don't need your money. I just want to give you what I got with my perspective and all the things that I did, that's with the context of, you know, those things working. I'm just giving that for you, to you right now. And the longer you're willing to delay and not take, you know, that's like the I don't know if you know about this marshmallow study, but they take kids that are, you know, in a class, and they give two choices to the kid. Either you get one marshmallow now, or you get, if you wait, I don't know, 10 minutes, you get two. and they see that the kids that are willing to delay the gratification, that's one of the big things. If you're able to delay gratifications, those guys are way more successful later in life than the guys that took on the first marshmallow right now. Because the more you're able to delay the ask, delay the instant gratification, the more results you're going to see. That also works in branding. So keep that in mind. Next one, branding, the definition of branding. When I say your name and you're not around, what do people think about you? Think about this for a second. What do people think about you? Now, when you're able to control this, when you're able to give so much value that the only thing people can say is actually, man, I love them. They're giving me so much results. Or, man, I hate them because they're giving so much. I don't understand this. And you're going to get haters. Even if you give, the whole freaking thing, you're going to have haters. I'm not telling you that you're going to be whole happy and everything is going to be all right, but you're going to have attention, and the people that are going to buy from you ultimately will see that you are the only option, the monopoly in their head, because you give so much, because your brand is there. Understand this. I hope that you like this episode. Gabriel Julié, if you are here and you appreciated this episode, make sure you share it to a friend, and ping somebody share this room with somebody. If you like it, make sure that you stay tuned, because hey, every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, your boy is here sharing you some marketing bombs so you can apply them for your business and you can see results right away. There was Gabriel. I hope that you like this episode, and I see you the next time. Have a